again, and we have, yeah, right, we'll start out Cameron down at the end. Cameron Green, he's involved with the military program of Fort Ticonderoga, and it's always interesting to see him come because he always wears these perfectly executed
Yes.
outfits that are handmade, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and do you make them? I think you do get involved with a little bit of that.
I do not actually do really any of the stitching. We actually have a tailor that does all the stitching on all of our clothes and constructs the clothing, as well as seasonals that come in and do
And
the
there's
work.
got to be a lot of clothing because you have a lot of people that
There
are
is,
involved at the fort there.
Yes, we have about 8 seasonals that come on that we have to fully clothe, as well as our fife and drum corps, which adds another
They're
whole
great,
element
yeah.
of
We should have
of
brought the
clothing.
video because we have some of that on video. Forgot about that. And next to me I have Heidi teRiele Karkoski, and she is the horticulture director.
Director of Horticulture, yes.
And you make sure that all the plants are watered. Is that it?
That is one of the things that I do, yes. But I manage the King's Garden,
Right.
which is right down below the fort. It's all part of our
It's
site
beautiful.
experience.
It's beautiful.
It is a fantastic historic garden.
Yeah, and we have photos that we're going to be showing a little bit of that. The unique thing is that they are authentic in the sense that you have tried to maintain them and plant them as they were.
That's correct. The formal walled garden that we have has been recreated using a plan from 1921 from a very well-respected landscape architect named Marion Coffin. So we have used the document from our archives that was done in her hand as far as the garden design and recreated that to the best of our ability.
Now you also have a garden where, like food, because they had to grow food in this fort. I mean, they couldn't go to the local 7-Eleven to grab something, so they had to have it there.
Well, the formal garden I speak of is from the
That's different,
1920s
yeah.
and beyond, but there's a long history of agriculture at Fort Ticonderoga that began with the military period because, yes, the soldiers did need fresh vegetables to supplement their rations.
So you're involved with that as well, correct?
I am. Outside of the walled garden, we have what we call our discovery gardens. There is a Three Sisters garden where we grow corn, beans, and squash together, like the Native Americans did. We have a children's garden that is a great place to discover plant life and the out of doors. And then there is a recreated military garrison garden, of which Cameron's been very instrumental in developing.
Good. Now, let's just tell our viewers who would like to go to the garden party and wear a nice hat, like you did at the beginning of the show. You saw that
Right.
photo with the hats.
Our garden party is the social highlight of the garden season. It takes place on Sunday, July 14th. It's a late afternoon, early evening affair. It's really fun because it's a nice chance to get dressed up, and as the sun goes down, the blooms are just glowing with the sun backlighting them, and it's very festive. We always have a hat contest, so people get really creative.
And you saw a few of those hats at the very beginning of the show. We use that at our opening because they're so cool.
Exactly.
We're looking at some of the photos here, too.
Oh, very good. Yes, those are some shots from recent garden parties, and that's the formal garden in the height of summer. It really changes about every 2 weeks, though, and it has blooms that continue right from May through October during our traditional season.
And what a scene. Just beautiful there. Cameron.
Yes.
How are you involved with all of this now?
Well, we started this year developing some military interpretation down at the gardens down there, specifically the Garrison Garden. So we're actually portraying soldiers who actually did the gardening there starting in 1756. The first French garden, which was yes, which was a 5-acre garden there. And that's the Garrison Garden there. Right now they're hoeing and weeding. Early garden there, and you see the wattle fence being put in there as well. They built fences around the garden to keep the grazing cattle out, of course. that's there to demonstrate that as well.
The gardens, how long, well, let's start with the fort. How long was the fort really active? I know the amazing thing about the fort is it changed hands how many times?
Oh, yeah, it changes hands quite a bit. It's built in 1755 by the French, and then the British and American Provincial Army take it in 1759, and then it's used as a staging point to invade Canada, actually.
Invade Canada?
Yes, invade
Oh, stop,
New
we did
France.
not invade Canada.
And
Don't
then-
tell me that.
And then the British come back to it in 1774, and in 1775 the Green Mountain Boys take the fort, and the Continental Army holds it till 1777 when the British take it back over. So it changes hands quite a bit.
Well, I know when I was up there, it was like I'm reading this, you have the cards out, and it's like, what? It changed this, but when you stop to think about it, you know, to the winners belong the spoils. I guess if you win, you take the fort, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But one of the common threads is that all of the occupying armies used that garden area. So as the fort changed hands, so did the garden, and those areas were utilized by all of the occupying armies, regardless of who it was.
Yeah, and the gardens are beautiful. Well, the King's Garden, of course, is really a showplace because it has the beautiful blooms and the grasses and the different, I mean, it's an amazing garden because as you walk the little paths, there's places to sit down, and you can really reflect and look at the blooms and at the design of the garden.
The garden was designed to be for strolling and quiet contemplation, and it still has that feeling.
It does have that feeling.
Even today.
Yeah.
It's really a fantastic getaway, and it's a great complement to the fort, which is, you know, high on the hill above us, and then a short walk leads you to the tranquility of the King's Garden.
Yeah, very, very nice. And, you know, you might not be able to get to the garden party, but please take a trip up there and check out the gardens when you're there, as well as the fort. I think that you will not be disappointed in getting the feel of history all around you. And their museum is wonderful, which I'm sure you have a great deal of input into what goes into that museum and how authentic the tools of war are. I guess call them that, tools of war. I don't know. But check it out. They're located north, and how easy is it to get there?
We're less than 2 hours north of Albany, and it's a quick ride on Interstate 87, and then
Very easy to get to.
Oh yes, yes.
And it's a nice ride. It really is. I've been up there a number of times. Very easy to get up there and enjoy the scenery. And when you get up there, you're in a different world. Believe me, you just get out there, and they have good place to eat too. That's
Right.
really nice.
Well,
too.
we like to say that you are immersed in history.
You are.
When you visit Fort Ticonderoga, and you certainly are.
I love it. And when you hear the fife band and the drums, oh my.
But it's the music, it's the smell, it's the sights, it's the feeling, and really it's quite undeveloped compared to some other historic sites that have a lot of changes to the landscape. Ours is quite pristine.
And the one thing I noticed up there, it's almost like there's not a lot of noise, because I think what people, when they're up there, they start to find a reverence for the place and what it was like, and to drop into history and feel that, it gives you another feeling. It's not like, oh, I'm at a tourist thing and I'm going to do this, and it's like, it's really different.
Well, it's a
Go up
connection
there.
to our nation's past.
Yeah. Check it out. Do a staycation, right? Stay in New York. Do something fun. So we're going to thank you both for being here. Cameron,
You're
you look
welcome.
Thank
fabulous.
you very much.
You do. I notice these are really authentic, aren't they?
Yes,
Yeah,
and they're well used.
well, I can see. He needs a little tide or something. No, I'm only kidding.
Pipe clay.
Oh, is that what-
That's what they wear in their uniforms.
We're going to take a break, and